Well, I don't consume as much golf content during the my season, which is really, I would say, from mid-May through mid-September. I don't have the opportunity to watch as much as I would like.
Mhm.
Um, that was, pre. I don't even know how to, pre-social media and all that other stuff. I mean, I would. That's how I gathered all my content, and in the golf publications as well.
Yeah.
I get all the publications at the golf shop. I also get the PGA magazine that the PGA sends out. So, I try to keep up on as much as possible. Put them in my backpack, and when I'm traveling on an airplane, I,
Yeah.
browse through everything, try and see what's new out there.
Yeah. Okay. And I know you've played a lot of golf tournaments in your career and a lot of professional tournaments. And would you say you've seen like a influx of youth in those tournaments more recently, or do you think it stayed mostly like the same demographics in these tournaments?
Well, now that I'm one of the older guys, I could say, yeah, there looks like there's a lot more youth out there, but they're
Yeah.
almost all younger than I am.
Uh,
But uh, most of the events that I compete in now are senior events, so I'm not seeing the youth. But when
yeah.
I do go to events and when I do watch, I was fortunate enough to get down to the Masters last year. Spend some time watching Cameron Young.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a lot of young guys out there that are, you see these swings that look incredible, and you're googling them, trying to figure out who they are and where they go to school, and there's a lot of good golfers out there coming out.
Mhm. And in your experience as a head pro, have you seen like more recently that youth are coming and just playing recreationally more? Is that something that's like, are they taking more of an interest in the game?
I think so. I think, actually the pandemic led to a lot of that as well. We had
Yeah.
some of our members, as you know, you being a member at Metropolis, some of our members, kids anywhere between the age, I would say 14 and 24, who never really showed much of an interest in golf
Yeah.
prior. Now that's really, they couldn't really do anything else. And all of a sudden we had people taking up golf that, had never really shown an interest. And, to their credit, they've stuck with it.
Mhm. And we've all seen like this sort of obsession or like uh this obsession with distance that's started recently, right? I mean, how do you think that's come about, and how do you think that technology has affected that, and has it affected the way you practice or the way your game has evolved?
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, the distance is the thing. I mean, people are hitting it, farther now. I literally, as I was waiting to come on here, I was flipping through Facebook and they showed, and I'll just call it up here. It's probably, it went somewhere else, but it was showing one of the young guys on tour and his carry distances, everything from his driver down to his, 58-degree wedge. And, he's carrying his pitching wedge 155 yards. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So there is distance has become more of a focus for a lot of people, but it's
Mhm.
always been a focus. I mean, I remember, my first trip to tour school, I was playing second stage out in Indiana,
Mhm.
and there was this guy behind me that, on a par four where I was hitting a driver and a 9-iron, a driver 8-iron, he was hitting a driver, and we're standing on the green looking back, and there's a ball rolling like
Yeah.
60 yards from the green. And,
Uh,
long story short, that was John Daly.
yeah.
So, distance has always been a thing, and um, people that can hit it far, but yet can still get the ball in the hole
Mhm.
and have good short games, definitely have a little bit of an advantage, I believe.
Mhm. And in tournaments, how have you seen the course setups change to try and like defend against that?
Yeah, they just get longer.
Mhm.
Any of the courses now they're building them longer.
Yeah.
The tour doesn't really go back to very many of the old classic courses. I mean, Westchester Country Club, when I was your age and younger, they had the Buick Classic there. It used to be the manufacturer's Hanover Westchester Classic. I mean,
Mhm.
that's a relatively it's a very short course on given today's standards,
Yeah.
but the guys never really went super low there because it's kind of an old traditional course. I think that the USGA, playing in the Senior Open this year down at Saucon Valley, I mean, it had a little bit of length to it, but the way they get around that is, the rough. You've got, they don't mind you hitting it long, but you better hit it straight. Because if you weren't hitting it straight, you were having a difficult time moving anything other than a wedge out of that rough.
Okay, and distance has obviously come as a result of technology, but what do you think technology has had a role in other parts of golf, like not specifically distance, but like training, whether it be launch monitors or cameras? Do you think that's made it easier to improve, or do you think it still requires the same amount of hard work?
I think it still requires the same amount of hard work. I mean, you might get to the answer quicker, but I still think you need to put in the work to make an effective change. But talking a little bit more about technology and everything, I think the biggest change is the golf ball. The golf ball. You never played a balata golf ball. A soft balata golf ball with a persimmon wood that if you swung as hard as some of these guys do now and you hit it a little bit offline, that ball just curved forever. I mean, you wouldn't even find it. So the fact that the golf balls don't spin as much, don't curve as much, they don't spin offline as much, I think that has allowed fitness to kind of really add so much to the game. I mean, the guys are just younger, stronger. They're working out. They're not hanging out, and they're just they just hit it and it goes.
Yeah, and speaking of distance, the USGA and RNA have like been proposing like distance rollbacks for a while now. Do you think that's a possibility that that's going to happen? And if it does, do you think that it would be a good thing for golf?
I don't know how they could possibly do that. I know they've talked about it. They've been talking about it for a long time, for decades, honestly. And then, then they talk about this bifurcation of the rules, having the tour have to abide by one set of rules and equipment, and everybody else who's playing amateur golf at the club could play, other equipment. But that's one of the beauties of the game. I mean, you can basically play the same clubs as, Rory McIlroy's playing, and people enjoy that. Whether it be the putter, the ball, the irons, the wedges, whatever, they feel as though they're using the same equipment.
Yeah, and that definitely gives people like a way to compare yourself to like Rory McIlroy. Them obviously you're not in the same league as them, but you can still see that you're them on the golf course and say, oh, I was doing that. I was in that same position yesterday or something like that. And that's just
especially when you go, when you have a chance to go out and play Bethpage Black, and you've seen the guys play there, and now you go out and play there, and you remember, so and so, this is where his drive was, and he hit it onto the green, and you're standing there, it's like, there's no way I'm getting on the green, but guys like to try. So it really makes the game of golf a little bit different than everything else.
So you'd say that it's not likely that they're gonna roll back distance, and even if they do, you don't support like one set of rules for the pros and one set of rules for recreational golfers.
I find that would be very hard to enforce. I mean, take our club for example. I mean, am I standing on the first tee and making sure everybody's playing the right equipment? I mean, I don't want to be able, I don't want to tell one of my members that they can't use, you can't use that driver, or you can't use that ball or whatever it is. I mean, you want everybody to enjoy the game.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. That was
all right.
That was so helpful.
All right, Sajiv.
That's what I had for today. I just wanted to get your opinion on the technology part of what's happening. It's short.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good. I mean, I think, I don't know how they keep coming out with new stuff every year, but these companies, they, every year they've got something new. And right now, I was just out at Callaway, and they're already working on things not that are coming out in 2023. They've got 2024 stuff that they're
Yeah.
They're already making 3D models on, and it's very impressive. Very smart people out there.
Yeah, it's becoming more of a science than ever before.
100%.
Yeah.